So by now you guys have already heard about the tourist Titanic submersible that went missing a couple of days ago, and we were receiving news reports that banging was being heard every 30 minutes, and that, there were developments that made us feel hopeful that the rescue mission would, be successful and we would be able to recover them alive. But unfortunately, yesterday it was reported that there was a catastrophic implosion and everybody died immediately. So may they rest in peace, and my condolences goes to the family and friends and supporters of all the 5 people on board. There is something strange about this, though, that there were banging noises being heard every 30 minutes, but wouldn't they be able to hear the implosion? If they could hear the, banging noises, they would probably be able to hear the implosion as well, right? Turns out that they did. According to this article, it says UK and US detected implosion sounds of missing Titanic days ago, but the information was classified. Okay, so this source is from inews.co.uk. You can go check it out. And it's really, really sad that if this was the case and they didn't report it beforehand and kept our hopes up, it's really not a kind thing to do, because they already knew. But anyways, we're not going to go on to that. I just wanted to know your thoughts on that specific thing. If they already knew, why would they still, do all of this? Anyways, we're going to see what happened. This is Titanic tourist submersible destroyed. How it happened. This is from CBC News.
This afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern, we got the news everyone was dreading.
In consultation with experts from within the Unified Command, the debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. Upon this determination, we immediately notified the families.
Okay, so the fact that they say that they immediately notified the families and didn't really consider it classified is also strange to me, because if they had any idea that this might have happened, they could have told the families, look, we heard a sound that is a possible implosion, and they could have notified the families beforehand, but they didn't. I think they were just trying to find the debris to confirm their suspicions. But the fact that they were reporting other things that, kept our hopes up would be really the crazy point of it. Because if they knew beforehand, why would they do this? But anyways, I don't know if that source is true. You guys can read the full article on inews.co.uk. I think that's the name of the site.
That's the man heading the multinational task force that has spent the last 4 days searching round the clock for the 5 people on board the Titan submersible. They've used planes, ships, a submarine, subsea robots, even remote-operated vehicles capable of descending all the way to the ocean floor, to the wreck of the Titanic itself,
Wow.
where the Titan was headed. But after an expensive, exhausting, and hopeful search, it is now believed the Titan was destroyed. Here's how it happened.
Essentially, we found 5 different major pieces of debris that told us that it was the remains of the Titan.
According to the U.S. Coast Guard, an ROV, a remote-operated vehicle, was able to scour the ocean floor near the Titanic wreckage. A few hundred meters away, they found this.
The initial thing we found was the nose cone, which was outside of the pressure hull.
That was clue number 1. Soon after, they found a large debris field where they found other components. They analyzed what they looked like, compared them to the design specs of the Titan submersible, and it seemed like a match.
Shortly thereafter, we found a second smaller debris field Within that debris field, we found the other end of the pressure hull, the aft end bell, which was basically comprised of the totality of that pressure vessel.
Wow.
It was all consistent with the components used to build the Titan, but they also think the debris tells them something about how the Titan went down. Not a slow, steady leak, but rather a violent, sudden change in pressure.
This is an incredibly unforgiving environment down there on the seafloor, and the debris is consistent with a catastrophic implosion of the vessel.
A catastrophic implosion is what can happen when you are subjected to the incredible pressure of being so deep underwater. You know, the Titan wreckage is about 13,000 feet below sea level. When you're that far down, the forces acting on the hull of the ship, many thousands of pounds per square inch, you know, I've heard it compared to having the equivalent of an Empire State Building crushing you from all sides.
We've taken a regular styrofoam coffee cup, and that's then strapped to the outside of the submersible in a net bag. And when we eventually come up topside and recovered, the actual same coffee cup is basically a that size.
Oh my goodness.
The big question right now is how such a catastrophic implosion could have happened. You know, it was an experimental sub. That was literally written on the death waiver passengers have to sign to be allowed on board. And
There's a death waiver.
a lot has been said about the cavalier attitude that the company's CEO had when it came to safety, innovation, and pushing the envelope with, you know, new materials never before used in a sub of this kind. But we also learned something from this afternoon's news conference that tells us about the timing of the implosion. You know, you'll recall the Titan lost contact with its mothership on the surface partway through its descent. This was on Sunday morning. They should have returned by the afternoon, but didn't. And it was only that evening the Coast Guard was alerted. Then it was roughly another day until a Canadian plane would arrive, dropping sonar buoys into the water. You can think of those like underwater microphones. It gave search teams listening capability. So here's the thing. There's this period between Sunday and Monday where nobody had any clue what was going on down there. And the suggestion seems to be from the Coast Guard, that's when the implosion likely happened.
This was a catastrophic implosion of the vessel, which would have generated a significant broadband sound down there that the sonar buoys would have picked up.
They would have heard the implosion if it had happened while their sonar buoys were deployed, but they heard nothing. I mention this because it tells us something about what the crew's final moments might have been like. You see, the great fear here was that death would have been slow and unbearable. Imagine, you're trapped all alone in a 22-foot hunk of carbon fiber. It's cold because sunlight can't penetrate the water. There's limited food, limited water to drink, only a single porthole that you can't even look through without powering the ship's lights because it's pitch black on the other side, and you're running out of oxygen. Perhaps a silver lining in all of this is that in the case of a violent implosion, death would have been instantaneous.
On behalf of the United States Coast Guard and the entire Unified Command, I offer my deepest condolences to the families. I can only imagine what this has been like for them, and I hope that this discovery provides some solace during this difficult time.
On board the Titan, Hamish Harding, a British billionaire explorer, Paul-Henri Nargeolet, a renowned French diver, Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman, two members of one of Pakistan's wealthiest families, and Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate Expeditions, the company behind this doomed voyage, finding its final resting place not far from where the Titanic itself sank more than 100 years ago.
The crazy thing is now there are two wrecks down there. And the way I know the world works, people won't stop. They'll try to find the Titanic wreckage, and now they have like a side quest to find the tourist Titanic submersible as well. Oh, bro, the thing is, when you have a lot of money and resources, these type of things are like insanely attractive, I think, to rich people, because it costs 250,000 for them to go down there with a small submarine to check out the Titanic, and it is very dangerous to do these type of things. And there was even a death, which I think other companies might also have, but there was like a death clause in the contract, a waiver, which means that I think they can't even be sued, can they? Because they signed a death waiver, which is the craziest thing. Is anybody going to be held responsible? Is there going to be accountability for this? What's going to happen now? You know? It is a truly sad story, and guys, I guess that's all I wanted to react to today on this topic. I don't really like reacting to these type of news because it's sad news, but I really want to know your opinion on this, and it all sounds so strange though. Hey, if you know anything, let me know in the comments. Take care now. Bye bye.